Simone's champagne glass slipped when she saw my name appear on the 40-foot screen. Not shattered, just dropped onto the carpet with a dull, expensive thud. 600 executives turned toward me while the words "Confidential Forensic Report" replaced her company logo. 3 months earlier, Simone had taken my office, my clients, and every person who once called me their boss. Now her husband was edging toward the exit, and federal auditors were waiting outside. But Simone still didn't understand one thing. I had built this stage for her. We met at Rutgers in 2013, fighting over the last functioning printer before a marketing presentation. Simone Rourke was fearless, surgical with numbers, and incapable of entering a room quietly. I handled strategy, she closed deals. By graduation, we had launched Northline Creative from a basement apartment with $2,400 and 2 borrowed laptops. Simone signed our first contract using a black Pelican fountain pen with a hairline crack across its silver clip. Her father had given it to her before he died. "Important lies deserve good ink," she joked. I remembered that sentence for years. 9 years later, Northline employed 23 people and billed $3.8 million annually. Our biggest opportunity was Halcyon Hotels, a 2-year rebranding contract worth $740,000. Winning it meant bonuses, health insurance upgrades, and finally paying off the line of credit secured against my condominium. Simone led negotiations with Halcyon's procurement director, Marcus Vale, a polished man who never removed his wedding ring. She said he was difficult but manageable. Then she began blocking every Wednesday afternoon for family medical appointments, and I never asked why. The first crack was an invoice from Cinderhouse Consulting for $18,650. Simone called it competitive research, yet the listed address belonged to a mailbox store in Morristown. Then Halcyon requested pricing changes I had discussed only with her. When I asked how Marcus knew, Simone's jaw tightened for half a second before she smiled. She blamed our project coordinator, Nina, and fired her that Friday. Nina left carrying a cardboard box and staring at me as if I had betrayed her. Had Simone just removed the only person who noticed? I started checking Northline's server logs after midnight. Simone's account had downloaded 11.2 gigabytes of proposals, payroll summaries, and client contact sheets over 6 weeks. She claimed she was preparing an investor archive. I wanted to believe her because she had slept beside me on an emergency room floor when my appendix ruptured sophomore year. Loyalty can become a blindfold when it has enough history behind it. Then a new agency called Bellwether launched across town, using language lifted almost word for word from our internal strategy deck. Halcyon awarded Bellwether the contract 11 days later. Within hours, Simone summoned our advisory board and accused me of mishandling confidential information. She produced access logs, client complaints, and an email supposedly sent from my account offering Halcyon a prohibited discount. My throat closed when I saw the timestamp, 2:17 a.m., while I had been asleep in Boston. The board suspended me pending investigation, disabled my credentials, and escorted me from the office I had personally painted. Simone hugged me near reception and whispered, "Don't make this uglier." What had she already prepared? The answer arrived by mistake. A courier brought an envelope addressed to Simone Vale to my apartment. Because Northline's original registration still listed my home, inside was Bellwether's operating agreement, returned for a missing witness signature. Simone owned 48% through Cinderhouse Holdings. Marcus Vale owned the rest. Attached was a 3-year-old marriage certificate from Essex County. Simone hadn't been visiting a sick relative on Wednesdays. She had been going home to her husband, the man controlling Halcyon's contract. And every page carried black ink from a Pelican pen with a cracked silver clip. My hands shook so violently that the pen rolled off the table twice. Simone had married Marcus in a private courthouse ceremony, used her maiden name at Northline, and built Bellwether behind my back. Together, they had steered Halcyon toward their company while manufacturing evidence that I caused the leak. I wanted to call her. I wanted to hear her invent something impossible and watch it collapse. Instead, I photographed every page, resealed the envelope, and handed it back to the courier. If Simone believed her secret was intact, how far would she go? I called Nina first. She had saved screenshots showing Simone ordering her to alter my account permissions. Then I hired forensic accountant Priya Desai with the last $9,300 in my savings. We found $186,400 routed from Northline to Cinderhouse through 12 fabricated consulting invoices. Still, documents alone could be dismissed as administrative confusion. I needed Simone to expose active intent, so I created Project Lantern, a a fictional acquisition plan for a luxury resort chain, and embedded a different microscopic serial number on every slide. Simone's copy ended in 0713. Would she steal one more thing? I sent the deck inside a severance proposal, implying that Northline's supposed acquisition would triple its value. Simone opened the tracked link 14 times. 2 days later, Bellwether announced a transformational hospitality acquisition at the East Coast Brand Summit, using the same invented resort chain, fabricated occupancy figures, and deliberately misspelled market name. She had copied everything. Better still, she scheduled Marcus as keynote speaker and invited Northline's board to watch their victory. I forwarded the evidence to Halcyon's general counsel, the state attorney general, and the summit organizers. Then I accepted Simone's invitation. At the gala, Simone stood beneath white lights describing Project Lantern as her original strategy. I walked onto the stage before security could reach me. The screen split behind us. Bellwether's deck on one side, my time-stamped file on the other. Serial number 0713 glowed in red on both. Priya displayed the Cinderhouse transfers. Nina's recorded statement followed. Finally, the marriage certificate filled the screen beside Marcus's conflict of interest declarations, where he had checked no personal relationships. Simone's face emptied as every camera lifted. What could she possibly deny now? She cornered me backstage, gripping my wrist hard enough to leave 4 pale marks. "We built this," she hissed, breath sharp with champagne. "You would have wasted it forever." My pulse hammered against her fingers, but I didn't pull away. I asked whether she remembered her father's pen. Her eyes flicked toward her handbag. I told her every fraudulent contract carried the same fractured ink line identified by the document examiner. Marcus shouted from the corridor that lawyers were coming. Simone loosened her grip, and for the first time since college, she had no prepared answer. Halcyon fired Marcus the next morning and referred the procurement records to investigators. Northline's board reinstated me, then removed Simone unanimously. She settled my civil case for $412,000, surrendered her shares, and accepted a permanent injunction barring her from contacting our clients. Bellwether collapsed within 6 weeks. I rehired Nina as operations director and used the settlement to clear Northline's debt without touching anyone's salary. But one object remained in the evidence box after the attorneys finished: the cracked black Pelican pen. I keep that pen in the bottom drawer of my new office, beside Northline's first $600 contract and the gala badge Simone expected me to wear as a defeated guest. Sometimes my hand pauses over the drawer before I lock it again. She once said important lies deserved good ink. In the end, hers wrote my comeback.